Everyone, welcome to Pepo Coin channel. I sincerely hope that after watching this video, you would subscribe. Therefore, let's be honest with ourselves. For the past few months, this market has been terrible. I don't even want to mention the previous few days. This market has been severely impacted by price action and the surrounding environment. And it's beginning to have a significant impact on the market. And by that, I mean the investors in the area. Retailers are abandoning cryptocurrency. People are getting out of here. They're growing weary. They're growing irritated. They're starting to worry about what's going to happen next. And because there are so many significant events taking place this week, I do believe that it will be crucial to concentrate on it. Things will have a significant impact on price action. I'm not here to try to sell you a used car or clickbait you guys. No, this is a really significant week. Actually, I have a number of reliable coins sitting on the sidelines that I plan to purchase if there is a significant sell-off. I'll be searching for buying chances if there is a lot of bloodshed in this area. And I say it because of everything that has happened this week. First off, for the past several weeks and months, there hasn't been much of a movement in the market capitalization of cryptocurrency. We are still hovering around the $2 trillion mark. At 24, the Fear and Greed Index is at or near frightening levels. Bitcoin has dropped roughly 5.6% over the past 7 days, while Ethereum has dropped to 1,800. Because we are now back to levels we haven't seen since November 2023 or perhaps October 2023, I have been keeping an eye on this. Now XRP is at $2.10 and Bitcoin is 81.8K. Over the past 7 days, the majority of the market has been down by double digits. And this only scratches the surface of how pessimistic this market has become if we truly examine the top 100 top gainers over the past 30 days. Although there have been many improvements, nothing particularly noteworthy, there is still some lovely greenery available. However, this is essentially what we're examining for the most part: negative 38%, negative 40%, and negative 65%, as you may know. The losses are mounting significantly on all fronts. And people are beginning to avoid cryptocurrency as a result of this. The tree is beginning to tremble greatly. As previously said, the total market capitalization of the cryptocurrency industry has returned to levels that were approximately comparable to those of November 2024. Even if we examine the market overview in terms of price action, however, if we look at the ETFs during the past year, we may observe a lot of outflows, with Bitcoin causing a negative $540 million, a total of roughly 538,400,000 was lost. And this has consistently been the case, even at billion-dollar levels. Thus, once more, the impact of this on retail is evident. The retail industry is trembling. This is where we begin to see a lot of the blood lining up, even in terms of the old coin season index. Okay, it's when I explain to folks what this area is right now, similar to a cycle or a phase, the market is still doing well. However, the market itself is pessimistic. There is bearish price activity. The market isn't in a bear market yet. Everyone's perception of what's happening is becoming overly dramatic. When we examine the cryptocurrency market cap's historical record, just quickly glance at our current position on this chart. Compared to 2021, the overall cryptocurrency market capitalization is currently at or near all-time highs, but everyone is really pessimistic. I contend that current cryptocurrency attitude is worse than it was during the bear market lows. XRP is a prime example of how, despite the appearance of the XRP chart, everyone is quite pessimistic. You shouldn't be impacted at all by this recent price movement unless you FOMO bought the top on XRP, which no one should have. The problem at hand is the extreme pessimism of each and every headline. Alright, I recently noticed another significant post on X that stated both Moody's and Goldman Sachs have adjusted their forecasts due to the increased likelihood of a recession. They now estimate that there is a 20% to 35% chance of a recession within the next 12 months. According to Goldman Sachs and Moody's, there is now a 35% chance that a recession will occur in the upcoming year. The market is incredibly apprehensive. This shakeout is huge. Additionally, this following week will be a significant week for cryptocurrency. Everything is going to have a big week. Why am I saying that? First, if we examine the market's response to tariffs, we can see that billions of dollars are being lost in the cryptocurrency space, and trillions of dollars are being lost in stocks. The cryptocurrency market lost more than $130 billion in return before the market closing on the 28th Additionally, as investors get ready for reciprocal tariffs, we have breaking news that the S&P 500 is now expected to open in correction territory. At the open, the S&P 500's three-day losses are expected to surpass $2.5 trillion. This is a huge thank you to Kibisi Letter. Since this is tariff week, this week is crucial, right? This week is officially known as Reciprocal Tariff Week. President Trump has declared Wednesday to be Liberation Day, and up to 25 countries will face tariffs of 20% or more. By the end of April, U.S. tariffs will affect goods valued at more than $1.50. What you should know is as follows. For weeks, he has been talking about this Wednesday, April 2. He dubbed this day Liberation Day, and it marks the arrival of significant new levies. We predict that the trade war will escalate to its greatest extent to yet on April 2. When we consider this once again, everyone is becoming extremely pessimistic about April 2. We must observe, wait, and see what actually occurs. I believe that when we take a close look at this market and find that everyone is turning negative, we should be trying to turn bullish. To be clear, President Trump will be announcing reciprocal tariffs today. These will be additional tariffs on top of already announced and existing tariffs. We think the exact reverse will occur, even if markets see that as a day when uncertainty will decrease. But this is the issue, isn't it? According to Kibisi's letter, the market as a whole believes that today will be the day when uncertainty will go away. But isn't that the issue? More than half of investors now believe there will be another major crash. This would be the ideal setting for that major collision, wouldn't it? On a day that has been anticipated for weeks, you know? Personally, I think so. However, the United States presently imposes 10% on energy, 25% on all Mexican commodities, 20% on all Chinese goods, 25% on all steel and aluminum, and 25% on the majority of Canadian goods. This week will see the implementation of 25% auto tariffs and 25% tariffs on nations that buy Venezuelan oil. Furthermore, Canada has already declared that it will impose reciprocal duties on 21 billion U.S. imports. The EU has threatened retaliatory tariffs in response to China's 15% levies on U.S. agricultural products. Once more, when we consider everything, the trade war is clearly still going on. We have to weather this storm. Everyone is becoming really pessimistic. Indeed, the charts from 2008 are beginning to resurface, along with discussions of the Great Depression and the recession. I've witnessed this numerous times throughout the time that we've witnessed it. You know what? We've caused a significant rally. Now, we're talking about more than just tariffs this week, right? This week also has a number of other important events, such as the release of Joel's job openings data on Tuesday and the ISM manufacturing PMI data on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have the Liberation Day, of course. We then receive ADP non-farm employment statistics on Thursday. Friday is also the March jobs report. Powell is scheduled to talk on Friday as well, of course. The most unpredictable week is likely to be this one. I concur. I'm making this video because I believe that this week will be very tumultuous. You guys should be worried, in my opinion. I believe you should all buckle up and get ready. Avoiding leverage, trading in an open manner, making impulsive decisions, and keeping stablecoins on the sidelines are the best ways to get ready. In this manner, we get ready for big, scary days. However, the market's broader perspective is what I'm focusing on the most, and XRP continues to trade at extremely high levels. James E. Thorne deserves a lot of credit for Bitcoin itself. Ignore the commotion on the 29th, he wrote in a post about Bitcoin's chart. The EMAs and the moving averages may be seen if we actually zoom out and examine the area where Bitcoin is trading. In general, there has been no change in Bitcoin. In actuality, we're at levels that we've observed each and every time a significant rash decision has been made. For instance, from March 2024 to the summer of 2024,